Hi everyone, welcome back to Cottoverdi. Today I'm going to be planting up the base of these gorgeous olive trees here. I absolutely love these olive trees. We've got a pair of them on the edge of the patio here before we enter the garden through the rose arch, and they've both got these gorgeous old knobbly, gnarled, bent trunks, and I really love them. They are a recent acquisition. I did film us putting these in because it was such a chore. They were really heavy, and I can link that video below if you fancy seeing that. But I left the base of the pots bare whilst the trees settled in. Now that these trees have settled in, they've been in for over a month I should think, I'm planting up the base, and I thought I'd go through with you today what I've chosen to go around the base and then plant them up and let you have a look. And then after that I'm going to be potting up some more containers for the patio, because I really want to add some fresh colour and make sure that for the wedding celebration we're having in a few weeks' time, it really is so close now, I really want to make sure that there's like bursts of colour, because that's what my daughter-in-law and my son would like. Anyway, let's go through the plants that we've chosen for the base of these containers. So the compost we used in these massive containers was a mix of peat-free multi-purpose compost and a lot of grit, because the olive trees really like good drainage. So I've chosen other plants that appreciate good drainage and also full sun, because these are in full sun all day long. They will get baked. Anyway, let's go through what I've chosen. So the first thing I've chosen is rosemary. Now I've been growing, this is ordinary bog standard rosemary officinalis. I've been growing these on as tiny little plug plants. They came as sort of thumb size, and I potted them straight up into these 9 centimetre 3-inch pots. So they've grown to little small bushes. Now over the years rosemary can get enormous, you know, like 4 foot tall. I have got a rosemary bush in the garden that I sort of maintain quite a low shape, so I keep it to about 2 foot where possible, and it also spreads, so it'll get really large if you let it, and it can get quite woody, a bit like lavender, so the trunks can get quite woody and they can get bare if you don't keep it pruned back. I mean, I use rosemary you know, for culinary purposes. I cook with it, so it tends to get quite a good prune, but what I'm trying to say is that this is a perennial for us, and if I don't keep it pruned back they could get quite big. So this is going to stay in the container for years to come, and I will just keep it pruned to a size that I like, so it'll be quite low growing, and if it does ever get bigger than that or too big for this container and I feel like it's taking over a bit too much, then I'll just whip them out and put smaller plants in. So I'll probably be taking regular cuttings from the rosemary so that I can propagate it and always have a stock of smaller rosemary to pop in here. I just don't want anything to shroud the trunk too much. Now the next thing I've chosen is a thyme called Silver Queen. So I'm going to put it up close to the camera so you can see, but it's supposed to have it's supposed to have variegated foliage, but all I can really see on it is tiny little white edges to each leaf. So it's not, maybe it just sort of has a silver hue. I don't think it's particularly variegated, but it does have these gorgeous sort of very pale lilac-y coloured blooms. And the nice thing about the thyme, first of all, it appreciates the good drainage that we have in here and the full sun. But the nice thing about it is it smells really lemony. So I've got a really scented rosemary, I've got a lovely lemony scented thyme, but also it's a very sort of informal shape. So the thyme will just sort of create these little messy mounds. It won't be too structured, and it will sort of spread really nicely. I think they only get to about 20 centimetres tall, so this is not going to get sort of much taller than it is now. It might get a little bit taller, but anyway, it's really easy to cut it back and it would just regrow for you. So thyme is another really good one. So I've got the rosemary that's slightly more structured, and then the thyme that is a little bit looser. And then the last plant that I've chosen is a bacopa. This bacopa is called Snowflake, and it has these tiny little white flowers on it, but it does get covered in white blooms. And the really nice thing about it is it's very low growing and trailing. So this will stay quite low and it will trail really nicely over the edges. It's also quite vigorous, so it should grow pretty quickly, and it'll be a nice sort of trail over the edge. Sorry, there's a plane going over. Now I didn't want too much too many trailing plants over the edge of the containers. I want to keep them quite neat so that the focal point is the actual olive trees. So we had some pretty windy weather last night and everything's blown over. But what I've decided to do is sort of have the bacopa and the thyme closer to the edge, and then I thought I'd plant the little rosemaries further back. And what I've got around the base of each, I think, is, how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 of each plant around the base, and I'm alternating them in an order. So I'm doing thyme, rosemary, bacopa, thyme, rosemary, bacopa, and I've just organised it that way in the hope that I've got sort of a really good variety and they just sort of all blend together. And I will be feeding these, I'm going to be placing food at the bottom of the hole, at the base of the hole, for each one. I'll link the food I use in the description below, because a lot of people ask me what we're using. If I can get these out. Wow, they're very well rooted in. They're both planted up and I think they look divine. I think they look absolutely perfect. It's really adding that sort of Mediterranean feel. It's enhancing the olive trees, and I'm so happy to have this job done finally, because it's been on the back burner for a while whilst I got the garden under control. So let me give you a look at the finished result, and then my next job is to go and plant up some more patio containers. So I have just watered them in, but I've been quite careful not to get the foliage wet, because in this kind of heat, we're having a heat wave at the moment, it's just going to scorch the foliage and then it will die. So I tried to just water the compost underneath the plants, and I wanted to rinse off the trunk of the olive tree because we don't want that buried underneath soil. So I've moved everything that I slung on the base of the tree, I've moved off just with a jet of water. But what we will do is run the irrigation system, because that will definitely water the plants in. But I just wanted to make sure, there were no air pockets and stuff like that, which is really important. We've got a wedding celebration in about 4 weeks' time, and I really want the patio to be full of colour, but I also just need it to be full of flowers. Something for the wedding. It's going to be used for the drinks reception, and so I just need it to be pretty. So I've been growing a lot of little plug plants in my cold frames, and they're all flowering, and I need to get them in the pots quite quickly. So that's what I'm doing today, and I thought you'd like to see. So I've already potted up some begonia. Now this is a green-leaved white begonia. It's a very basic begonia with small white flowers, but it does incredibly well in my garden, especially in shady spots. We've already planted some underneath our asagrissum on the patio. We did that a couple of weeks ago, I think, and I'm now adding them to pots so that they can take up the space, the shadier spaces amongst the containers, because there's always a shadier spot, especially down the steps, because the patio containers are arranged on steps. So they will go in the shadier spaces, and they'll do really well. So I thought I'd bring you along. I'm also planting up loads of other things. I've got a gorgeous blue nemesia that I'm planting up. I've got some verbena that I'm planting up, and some bacopa. I'll tell you a little bit about each plant as we go along. The compost I used for all my containers is a multi-purpose peat-free compost. It's a brand called Silvergrow, Melcourt Silvergrow, and I really like it. It's a really nice consistency. I don't know if you can see that. It hasn't got loads of bark or loads of core. It's just a really, really nice consistency. And then I also use the Miracle Grow slow release fertilizer. I'll link all these things in the description below if you'd like to see exactly what they are. And then you can have a look. But I always add the slow release fertilizer to the containers, because even though I may feed them occasionally myself, I find it really helpful to have the plant food in the containers. The plants just do so much better and produce more flowers if they have this slow release fertilizer. And then whenever I pot things up for containers, in the summer, I always sprinkle some horticultural grit on top. People have asked me what that is. In England, it's just sold as horticultural grit, but I can only describe it as very, very small gravel. But anything over the surface is just going to help the container to retain water. When you water it, there'll be less evaporation, and it will also suppress weeds that are sort of blown by the wind or dropped by birds or insects, because they'll find it harder to grow in the gravel. So those are the two reasons I use it. But I also use it because I find it aesthetically pleasing. It just is like a neater finish, and it stops if it rains really hard, which it does in England sometimes. We haven't had rain for ages, but if it rains really hard, the water can splash up from the surface of the compost onto the plants, and then they sort of get muddied. So that's another good reason to put some gravel around the top. So 3-4 good reasons. And that's why I use the gravel. Last year I planted up some of my pots on the patio with a nemesia called Denim, and it was the most gorgeous blue. Now I can't find that again this year. I cannot find it from the same supplier. I can't find it anywhere else, but I have found a nemesia here, and this one is called Lady Anne. And I think that this one is absolutely gorgeous too. Now the reason I really wanted to find the denim one again is because it flowered all summer long. It was definitely the longest flowering Nemesia I've ever had in my life. It just kept going. And so I'm really hoping that this one is exactly the same. Not only is it a beautiful colour, it looks really similar to the denim that I had last year. But if it flowers all summer long, that's going to be incredible. I didn't have to deadhead it at all, whereas with the Nemesia Wisley Vanilla, you do have to deadhead that once it's finished flowering to get a second spurt. Well, that's what I found anyway. So I'm planting these containers up. I think they're quite cute and they're quite tall, and I'm just going to pack them tightly with this one plant. So I've been growing these on, they came as plug plants, and I put them into these 9cm containers. Wondering if I should have put 4 in each one. I'm going to try to put 4 in this one and see whether I prefer the look. So I prefer it with 4, so now I've got to replant this container. I just think it's fuller, and I've only got probably 3 weeks until the wedding celebration, and so they're not going to grow that much, and if they're spilling over the sides, that would be even nicer. So I'm going to stick another one in here. I think they look so pretty. I think the blue of the Nemesia is enhanced by the grey of the grit. These aren't particularly scented, so nothing like the Wisley Vanilla, which has such a gorgeous scent. But I think these look perfect, and hopefully, if I keep feeding them, they're going to be in full bloom by the time we have the wedding celebration. So the next thing I'm planting is this gorgeous Calibrachoa. This is called Dark Rose, Calibrachoa Dark Rose. It is a beautiful bright pink. Really, really love it. And I'm just going to fill these containers to bursting. So this is going to trail and just sort of spread and create a nice mound. And they've started flowering already, so I do need to get them into the containers as soon as possible. I've also just potted up this gorgeous little conifer. I've got a couple of these in my border, and they will get bigger over time, but they naturally just make this kind of ball shape, and I think they look really pretty. And I think it's really important to have restful spaces amongst the cacophony of bright colours on the patio. Now I do have more containers to plant, but I need to go and do dinner, so that would be another day, maybe tomorrow. I really hope you've had fun with me today as I potted around in the garden and did a couple of little jobs that are just adding something to the patio area. I'm super excited about how these are all going to look in seasons to come, and I enjoyed myself so much because the scent from the plants at the base of these olive trees was just so delicious. It felt like I was in a very, it felt like I was in a Mediterranean kitchen actually, as I was planting them, and I got a whiff of rosemary and a whiff of lemon thyme, and it was just so lovely. And I feel very at peace, almost like I'm on holiday. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.